opening to the season. 2 weeks to kind of figure things out, but obviously FPX first. We'll see how this one goes. We're already jumping into the action here, Tom, and very quickly it looks like Big want to take that fight towards Bathroom, having already secured the site pretty much.
Hey, you know, it's a good first kill when it comes in with 3 assists alongside it. Zipan will at least be able to trade, but it's gone firmly into the favor of Big for now. Zipan looking to try and get in on the retake. I imagine these colors are backwards, right? Because I'm now looking at this going, red doesn't match red and green doesn't match green. So either that or I've lost my mind.
Yeah, of course, Big on that attack side, looking to take all that space. And at this point, FPX are going to have a tough time really fighting their way back into this. Looks like it's all but concluded, and the pistol's going to go in favor of that attack side, unless Sugetsu's got a big play up his sleeve, and you can see those shots not landing at first. Now the time's just going to be way too far gone. Nicely opened up. Big take the first round now. And of course, as you said, Tom, up the top there, FPX are on the defense, and Big are on the attack for now.
Maybe not so small brain after all. I managed to work that one out. It only took me a minute and a half, so you know that's
pretty good. Pretty good.
That's good timing, isn't it? But yeah, decent piss. I like the pace coming out of Big. I think especially the team starting on the defensive side, it normally comes out as a bit of a bonus, especially going into the first map. Like if you can get things rolling fairly quickly. So the fact that they almost just blitz into A, the fights taking place in very early stages of the round, and ultimately just trade effectively. And I've always found it a little boring just to like highlight the duelists to start with, but in this series it is definitely what excites me the most. I'm missing Zipan on arrays, and Twiston no doubt is a superstar. Like we had a lot of interesting talk in the interviews about like they've been able to almost tame him a little bit, but I feel like on this map they almost need him to go wild, be that aggressive player, blast back into almost silly positions at times just because how these sites are set up.
That flash catching Zip on the way back, but they haven't detected Angel, so at least one kill to go their way. A little bit more would be fantastic for Big here, but it's not looking like anything. Or fantastic for FPX, sorry, but obviously not looking like anything will go their way. They get shut down, and altogether Big have gotten out of that round smelling like roses. I mean, they're going to get a rifle in this at practically no extra investment. With Obnog's upgrading to the Vandal, he'll still have a couple of credits for the next round, and it gives them a decent shot at taking a lot of these early round duels.
Yeah, he's another player I think we really need to like watch throughout this game, because especially in their grand final to qualify, he was incredible. Like one of the best performances I think we saw in the entirety of the qualifier, and a lot of it came down to how he played on Sky, space he was able to take, but even just the individual skill that he brings to the table for this squad. So it is going to be a very interesting fight, that's for sure. Xiao, this is a bit of an awkward position to be battling from, but he's done a good job. He's getting tanked by so much utility, and what God be, it's just ratty, isn't it? We see this quite often. He goes into that TP, he's just going to sit there and wait to see if anyone tries to rotate through.
Eventually, won't be finding anyone. Looks like there's going to be a big play by Gabi, though, as he charges forward into 2 players in Hookah, and luckily decides that's maybe not the best idea. The Bulldog being one of the more valuable weapons they have, but obviously he wants to have that control over Hookah to fight on the site. Sadly, he won't be gaining it this time, and the rest of the players actually just Xiao cleaning it all up. He's got 4 in this round. Maybe not the player that you want to be picking up all those kills just because of those ult points going to a Cosmic Divide that typically only harms more than it helps, looking at how a lot of teams are using it. But still, securing that round is all that really matters at the end of the day.
Was one of the last times we casted FPX when it was like the 46 round map where Xiao had something like,
I think so,
it's
yeah.
something like 50 kills on Omen.
I think it might be the last time we cast them. Yeah,
it was just the weirdest game ever, because we were almost frustrated at the beginning that we were like, oh, why is Xiao playing Omen? And then he gets 50 kills and you're like, it doesn't matter what agent he plays. Like, it just doesn't matter. The individual aim is always going to be there, and I feel like he has become that sort of player for this squad of just almost filling in the gaps where it's needed, even in cases where you'd almost expect, for example, Angel to be playing the controller, but because they're running double, he picks up the slack.
Scout destroyed.
But minute 15 on the clock, still playing in this default, looking to take ult orb an early round towards Bath. leaving B long open. I mean, this really feels like they're trying to pressure A to get that push coming on the B side. It comes down on mid, though, and that pressure has resulted in Aslan falling. And Tom, that's pretty huge because they've lost their Viper now. Getting to the site will be difficult, but at least they've got that Astra to plug the holes.
Information will be granted, but mainly the space through Hookah that they need to be a little bit more worried about. Twiston looking to try and get a bit more aggressive, and you've seen the rotation already come through, but because they still have this control, Artist, all he really needs to do is just make sure no one can cut him from behind, and that flash was just sick. So he gets to easy couple of kills, and now the remaining players are literally stuck within that Hookah spot, in with a crossfire. Shouldn't be able to get anything, but Twiston still does, bitch. He's dead, but I don't know how he gets both of them.
Yeah, luckily they forgot about Sugetsu. That could have been a little bit awkward otherwise. And 2-2 is where we end up at with that big play from Twiston. They've at least got a showstopper to work with coming into this round, but it's unlikely we'll really see it get used. When you're coming in with Sheriffs, you're going to need to see 1 or 2 opening kills before most players will feel comfortable committing that ult. You don't want to just end up with a kill in a round where the rest of your team gets rolled over because they don't have rifles to play with. So we'll see how they navigate this one. And one of the big things, see what GOB's ideas are for a round like this.
Yeah, I think the scenario I wouldn't mind seeing it used is almost like a delay tactic if they manage to get a spike down. Like, sure. I think that's one of the biggest values we actually get, and well, it's already gone, but it comes as a trade, and actually Zipan's incredibly low as well, so defending this site is almost gone.
In fact, 1 HP as he falls back. He will make it away and get a heal. Shock dart a little bit shallow on that, so GOB's able to get the plan through. Nice and safe. I mean, at this point, yeah, you would love to have Twiston online for this post-plant play with the showstopper, but they don't have anything to help them out on this. It has to be the Sheriff duels that go their way. Oh, that grab well. That eliminates Casp immediately. Well handled, but still plenty of ground left for FPX to defend. Drone's going to spot the first. They know that Aslan's up close as well. They'll swing to try and catch them off guard. That doesn't work. And Obnox gets nothing done either. This is exactly what I was saying. You'll lose all the duels most of the time when it comes to the rifle versus Sheriff. But I'm surprised they got away with nothing. That was really clean on the retake from FPX.
Yeah, and well, you spoke about one showstopper being online. It turns out if you get an ace in a round, it's quite easy to get the other one online. So true, Zipan just farming up the players are big. I think he actually got it after 3 or 4 kills and then just decided that he was going to destroy everyone along the way. I like the supportive utility they had, though. Like, especially considering, if you remember, like, old school artists, it was never really, even when he played Sova at times, it was never really that supportive player. He would still be the one having to take space, if you think back to the likes of G2. That was just him setting up Zipan to basically thrive, and I'm sure we'll see the opposite when we come into the switch up onto like Sky or something, and then you have Jet for him. Good start though. Aslan already finding one, and here comes that showstopper. Almost too easy. How is Twiston winning these battles?
Ridiculous.
Like, it's the second one that doesn't make sense every time.
There's just no way he should be able to get away with that. At least he'll be punished eventually. I love that setup. The Gravwell on long means you either have to fight the entire team on long or get killed by the guy coming out of Hookah. It completely sections off that player, pushing through the smoke here. Big mistake. And with Angel falling, there is no chance for this round. FPX are going to go and save, and that gives Big a third. And pretty convincingly as well. They haven't even committed some of their bigger ultimates, like having that Viper's Pit online. With the way that they opened up, there was no need. They never felt like they had to secure the round. It was theirs from Twiston's double kill.
Yeah, and I feel like there's going to have to be an adaptation here from FPX to try and control Hookah, because that's now a couple of times where, okay, sure, we saw an entry somewhere else, but it was just that super aggressive, fast-paced play. Once we saw it in the early round on Pistol, I think it was, and then we saw on the B side just now, where it was basically just Twiston just, okay, they get the opening after, I assume it was some sort of swing, and then just straight running into that B side, and he gets the entries for them. And that's something that I feel like you need to start denying that space. And you saw it in one of the rounds, actually. Xiao just like having the grav wells, having the smokes, and just basically trying to slow them down as much as possible, because if you give up that control, you're going to give that man some space to make a play, and I don't think that's something you can allow throughout this series.
As I said, one of the big things being that Big have got a couple of ultis, and the others are about to come online. On the FPX side, very much the same. Viper's Pit and Hunter's Fury about to join Seekers and a Showstopper. One of the things about Bind in general, when we see this comp, which is obviously very common on this map, that's why it's a mirror comp here, you end up a lot of the time, like pretty much every ult there is impactful. Every ult there is game-changing. And so instead of some of the maps that we saw yesterday, for example, where ultis didn't play as big of a role, you know, every few rounds one would turn an engagement in their favor, but never necessarily the entire round. Here, the ults demand a lot more respect. So fighting for ult orbs and spacing out your ult economy is very important. Not using a Showstopper to entry B and then using your like Hunter's Fury or something wild to just throw away pieces of utility. Deciding when to use it on a map like Bind with this kind of comp is the difference between winning and losing a lot of the time.
Yeah, I find that as well. Like when we watched Guild, like how Russ was using Seekers was something that really impressed me, because that would almost solo win a round, which I feel like for that ultimate, it can do a lot of damage, it can find a lot of information, but it doesn't normally do enough to win you a round on its own. So I'm definitely going to be taking a look at the Sky players. Again, though, there's going to be some early long control. It's been something that initially has been battled for quite regularly by both sides. They'll get themselves the ult orb. More importantly, though, I am just keeping an eye on what Xiao's doing, because, as said, I feel like they need to have a little bit more control.
What?
Okay.
I guess he was expecting the run back.
Yeah, on my screen, I thought Twisted was well clear, but I guess not.
Well, there's no way he reacted to that in time. Either that was a pre-fire or just a luckiest shot, but it's connected either way. That's giving the advantage to FPX now as Big look to move through mid. Viper Utility's just gone offline, so they've got a small window where they can push forward before FPX's util comes in to stop them, and there it is, the snake bite. As well as... So that... A lot countered out here. You use a Showstopper defensive side, stops them pushing on the Seekers. Seekers outside B in case this was an A fake, confirming that the players are actually outside A, and now Viper Util back up to try and stop these guys from pushing on through. Sorry, no, it's just gone down. Oh, okay, so the timing's worked out decently well, and they've picked off Zipan. Still getting to that site with 20 seconds left is going to be tough. The grab wall slows them. Another kill on the cross. Time now starting to be a big old issue. It's time to get that planted, but God B swings into heavy traffic with a 4K. Sugetsu gets it done on the backside to put 4-3 on the board.
I think this is almost a prime example of one Seekers getting nothing done and the other almost winning the round, because you had Sugetsu Seekers, which, as you said, told them that nobody was on the other side of the map, so they could basically full rotate in. The operator that he would have had on the other side holds down the site and locks them in. You then had basically just utility spam, because it's like, okay, there's 20 seconds left. They can't go back. They could go through the TP, they could risk it, but they still had a player there. So instead, they could just spam all of their utility into mid because they had the information of where the players are. So yeah, it was well played. How's he hit the last round shot and then Twiston's just owned him this time?
Yeah, I'm not... Ooh, that's a nice nade and grab. Well, Xiao had no chance. And caught up in it. Angel wanted to get aggressive and pull the advantage back into their favor. It's not going to work out, and Zipan's down. Revealed in the open and dealt with all too easily. The rotates come in quickly to the B site. Now, on both sides, though, because Artis is here as well, but he's just a little bit late to catch them crossing the site.
Yeah, he's not going to be given the chance to. Twiston still going strong and having a lot of really high impact plays, but that was mainly just a nice little utility combo, and I think that's one of the main reasons, other than just Astra being a phenomenal agent in general, that we're starting to see it used a lot on Bind, is just because it's because of Link. I think that's basically it. It's because of Link. It's because he would just sit in that corner every single round with a judge, and there's very little you could do about it. You could just spam your nades in, but now you have the gravity well. You can pull players out of position. You see Sky used quite a lot for the same sort of reason. So, yeah, just a nice little setup to remove that danger.
Viper's Pit early towards Hookah from FPX. They're being challenged on B long, though, and that hookah control might not matter. You actually see Angel fall out to come and help his teammate, but Sugetsu, well, he's already gone. Angel tries to hide inside his Viper's Pit. He's at least able to stop them from stepping out towards long, but that utility is going to fade, and now, in fact, it's gone altogether. And players have been spotted on long. Angel taking a very risky peek here, even got tagged up by the Hunter's Fury, and he's taken down in the end. Artis connecting his target down on long. It was an attempt by FPX to keep those players trapped in and get them killed by the Hunter's Fury, but instead, Tom, well, it's resulted in Big having a decent advantage as they now rotate to the... Well, it was the lighter side of the map, but I see that Artis is making his way to A as well.
Yeah, information claimed by Zipan and... twist. What? It looked like it went through him. Did he jump over a showstopper? Is that what I've just witnessed? It doesn't matter. He died anyway, but that might be the most techie way to dodge a showstopper. It seems like almost like a Fast and Furious movie where it's just like something's come flying and he just gone, whoa, and it's like there is no way you could have reacted that fast.
Cool guys don't look at explosions, right? Well, there you go, Guppies. Closing out this round. 5 for Big in the end. But attack side's looking good. I was worried about the economy for FPX, and it looks like, with no ultis online, they can't really make this work. If Angel's still at the Viper's Pit, you know, he takes a Spectre. The other guys buy up. They have some pistols, but it would be manageable, especially if Shao takes something like a Judge. But now I'm looking at it and thinking you can get 2 strong buys, 1 pretty weak, maybe, and then 2 obviously are just screwed altogether. Defensive side on bind, you probably don't want to run with that. I think this is just going to be a few pistols.
Yeah, maybe throw in a Judge or 2 just to be as annoying as humanly possible. Play either around lamps or, of course, hookah. But as said, like Big they've either had hookah for free or they've taken it quite easily. I think there's only 1 or 2 rounds where I think Shao has managed to really deny them that space. And I think that has been one of their bigger issues, is both sort of almost short sides or mid sides of the map is where there's been a lot of pressure, because I can't really think of much really done towards showers or anything of the other side either. Like it's mostly been controlled by FPX. It's just been the mid portions of the map that they haven't been able to deny, or more importantly, if they have another strategy, they haven't been able to hold the site when they haven't had that control.
Sagetsu's been doing a really good job here, despite the fact that he's not, top fragging out there. It's the consistent nature of, like, he's fighting out on B long, holding the control. Obviously last round didn't go too well, but whole team was practically there. This time around, it's going to be a double hookah setup. You can see Shao trying to bait this out. He's playing the right side. He's making a lot of steps. And Sagetsu will be able to potentially take them down. Look, dodging out that utility. Do they clear the left side? They're certainly being conscious of it. And in fact, Big aren't going to go anywhere near it. The TP sounded and the rotates moving to A.
Not really taking the same risk. And also maybe because they didn't see the same pressure put out on B long, they're wary of where those other players can be, especially in a weaker round. Nice shot from Artis though. Kicking off with a bang, but there's still plenty they'll need to do in this round to come out with a victory.
Zipan's down and out. The push through easily deals with Artis. Again, having these pistols just not ideal at all in these fights. Look how easy it is to keep on spraying away at head height. I will say though that FPX's pistols have been doing a remarkably little amount of damage in some of these rounds, in some of these duels, compared to what I'd expect. I actually think Big have gotten away with a lot more than I was expecting them to in some of these duels.
Yeah, I don't think that FPX have had a bad read either in a lot of scenarios. So they've had rotations in time, I guess is what I'd say, and then Big have still managed to just dominate the site in a lot of the battles anyway. So I guess decent recovery in scenarios that could have been a little bit worse. For Sagetsu, though, it's a free gun upgrade. I don't think they're really going to be able to do anything to stop him saving that. So that's something a little bit extra for the next round. We know that FPX were going to be buying anyway. And is he... I guess he wanted to die? I guess because he can buy back up anyway?
He's the only one that can buy an op. So he had to die for the money so they'd have an operator here. It's the only thing that I can...
that makes sense.
Connect the dots that way. Maybe a last second call. Because the intention was definitely to save at a certain point. But 6-4, 2 rounds in between. And at this stage, look, for FPX, it's not the end of the world. But if they lose this buy round, things are going to be very tough for them in the next half. They're going to start with that operator on Sagetsu looking for a bit of B long control. A Big Oh, they know what they're up against. They've hit tab. They've seen the money. They know there's probably an op. And they're being very conscious of peeking long early. I think they're even going to then just drone this out and spot it early on.
Oh, nice aggression from Xiao, though. He switched his spot on the map. Oh, it's perfect from Gob, though. He didn't even have the support for someone else to peek. And he goes through and gets Angel as well. The IGL leading the charge in this round. And after what was an incredible start, in fact, from Xiao, it's still going to be an afterplant once again.
Big have certainly secured that, and even Elbow as well. Twistin not looking to stop that push until it's that 3v2. FPX have to get themselves out of this choke point. They're worried about that flank coming around from Elbow. And all the while, Big are just making their way towards long, nice and slowly. They've got everything that they want to work with on this time. The control, well, they do have an Astra Star as well. Insult to injury, really. So they're going to be able to grab well them off this, and even another for a stun. Yeah, I think this one might be done. Oh, they used the stun first. Interesting.
I guess they just knew that they had Twistin in spot, so if anybody was defusing, they'd be completely stunned. And then if that doesn't work and he spots that someone's defusing, can pull them back off the spike. It's almost like an extra security plan that, well, all it really loses is one of the players who's not in the best spot to peek. So, yeah, it's a nice little afterplan setup. And that seems to be the case in most rounds. If Big get the spike down, well, I think the only round that we saw a retake successful, if I'm not mistaken, was the one where they only had pistols.
He might be spot on there, actually. It's certainly been a difficult journey for this defensive FPX side so far. Now, remember, this is Big's map pick. Seeing them get off to a good start in this series is very much what we want. But one more round here for FPX will help them out. It'll even the playing field moving into the next, and the likelihood still in question. Angel making things a little bit easier, but somehow on that wide swing, Twistin still managed to get a kill onto the back of side. I think it was a jump peek. Just ridiculous. That's where he killed the player, right in front of Artis.
Well, maybe a little bit of luck that I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference in the round. Another dominating half coming out from Big, and yeah, I have to say I'm impressed, especially with how things started off, like 4-2 down, 3-2 down, and then from then onwards just winning every single round in the half. And again, a lot of them were convincing, and I think a lot of it came down to firstly just being able to dominate portions of the map which I would say are normally in contention. Like, I think Hookah always comes in that bracket. Like, you normally force teams to use a lot more utility than they did, but also if they didn't have that control, I think the B defense just really didn't look that great. Like, they had to gamble a lot of rotations in this direction, and other than a couple of holds on B long that we saw, I can't really think of a round that actually won out from them just defending through Hookah.
Right here.
Well, luckily FPX aren't going to have any worries when it comes to their defensive side, so anymore, right? They move to the attack. It's better. It's happy. They can just put that behind them. Doesn't matter why you lost all those B rounds. Let's just win some B rounds now. And FPX are going to look towards the B side. Early trades, 1-to-1 in their favor. Jumping out of Hookah not going to be great for Angel, and his teammates need to make it out long if he's to even do that. Otherwise, he's just going to be mowed down on the way. One kill might not be enough, and you see that FPX are still going to stall this out. Wait for Big to make a move.
And they are. Aslan has already pushed all the way around the back. It's something that Angel's definitely considered. It's whether or not he'll catch him on the way through, and he's not looking. It should be for free. Oh, the classic could be unkind. And Aslan's going to get nothing for it. That might just be the turning point, but the remaining players are so desperately low. If Casper can find either of them, there's a chance, but Xiao just waiting in the corner. It's left all onto Obnox. The patience of FPX, something we've known for an eternity under Angel's leadership, has paid dividends in this round and leaves a 1v3.
Obnox has at least 2 players very low on HP, but it has to be duels that he takes them down in, not having any damage dealing utility. And now he's quite low himself. Dealt with in the end. FPX take the pistol, and that is them certainly on the road to recovery. They need to follow up into this one, and I'm assuming Big are going to take an eco, 8-6, and we're right back to pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah, a good opportunity for FPX to get rolling. And that's one of the things I think we've always been quite impressed with any FPX iteration is a lot of their attack sides were where they really shined. Like they would put a lot of work into this side of the map, and I think Angel's calling in like close situations has always been fantastic, because we saw in this round, like it was the patience that won it for them. I think if they go aggressively pushing into that crossfire, I would have bet on Big 9 times out of 10.
Talk about Big going aggressive. Obnox is inside the smoke, looking to flash on out there. Oh, okay. Well, unlucky. I definitely respect the attempt. When you got pistols like this, it's where you got to roll the dice a little bit, try to take those risks and pick off a few. I would be incredibly surprised if Zipan went in here. Maybe he nades it, but you don't go hookah up against this kind of an eco. Not without a lot of utility committed.
Yeah, maybe if there's some sort of stun gravity world to try and move players out. And there you go. You're going to have the Tiger, which, well, this first player, I don't know if he spotted the second one, but it really doesn't matter. There's only one side he's going to be checking from this point onwards, and there you go. It's a much better setup. They didn't actually see him, but they're still definitely going to check, and that's exactly how you want to see a team clear hookah in that sort of round. As said earlier, that's why you have the Sky. It's why you have that Astro.
Oops.
Oh, that was a bit cursed from Xiao, I won't lie.
Yeah, just a little bit. I saw it there and saw Xiao jumping up. I'm like, dude, do you not hear that? Oh, well, he underestimated the nade and paid the price. In the end, though, FPX get out relatively clean. 4 players alive, nicely stacked economy, attack side as well, so they can probably just throw Xiao a pistol and play it like that. This is the round where Big look to answer back. They're going to take the rifles into play. A lot of light shields, though, I'm noticing, Tom. Only one player is able to afford the full shields for the defensive side.
Sorry, what was that?
2 players able to afford full shields on that defensive side.
Literally,
so.
as you said it, he's sold
always the way. Always the way. He's playing without the heal here, and definitely, I think for Obnox, it makes a lot more sense to buy full shields than it does to buy heal in a buy round like this. You know, situationally, it's going to be a lot more important to have you on full health.
It looks like Godby got rid of his shock dart, so that somewhere out there, the average Jonas, a tear is rolling down his face. He's made the decision to sacrifice utility for the extra little bit of HP, but no, I'm all for it. Let's go. And especially in a round like this where you have such an inherent advantage in terms of weaponry. I am liking the fact that we are seeing a lot more Bulldogs come into play. It seems like the balancing of that gun has got it in a good spot. Like, it's not ridiculously overpowered like some other guns that got changed and thankfully nerfed, but it's still good enough to use within these sort of rounds.
They're droning up B long right now. FPX had that one player on A, the Viper wall there. Angel's trying to fake it out, but this is something FPX used to do way back in the good old days of Bind. Have that Angel fake. He rotates around, and well, then he used to play his entry Brimstone, right? But we're not going to see Zipan alive for the late stage. He got picked off in through hookah, and the rotates are coming in. But on the A site, we've still got Twistin in position, and he's so aggressive as well, but he's giving away his spot. Bobby's known to be pushing through the TP, but he's dropped the spike. Oh, everything's going Big's way in these duels. The rifles winning out, the positioning fantastic, and now the time too far gone for Angel to have any chance.
Yeah, he might be able to at least get a kill onto Casper, but that'll be all. Just probably looking to try and save the weapon into the next round. Not really any benefit other than just the cost he can cause to his opposition, and the same really for Big. It'd be nice to take down that remaining weapon, but not worth overfacing for it. I do love how so far in this map, I feel like one of the most aggressive players has actually been Godby, like running through smokes and headshotting people, going straight through the teleporter. And almost that was an attempt to work as a distraction so that they could pincer in with Twistin going for the push. And then Twistin's nade forces one out the corner for him to kill as well, knowing that you can't go anywhere else because of where Godby is. It's a great play, but it's not the sort of plays you're thinking of like, that's the genius level play. It's like the very aggressive plays that are actually catching FPX off a lot of the time.
Yeah, Godby's not one of these players that's become that's kind of tapered out towards the end of his career, right? Or towards this stage of his career. He's at a point where he's still able to put up those numbers. It's so nice to see him take that confidence route, something that Angel used to spearhead himself, the entry fragging, IGL, smoker. Double kill for FPX. They've got control, but Godby storms into the site. That was through Viper utility and everything.
Yeah. They've actually still brought this back, though. gonna have a little bit of extra damage done, but not anything to really write home about. And
they put the
have the
util in the wrong
information
spot.
at least where one or two of these players are. Twiston looking to try and clear the site still, and the elbow control could become a bit of an issue. Trying to clear both of these angles at once is going to be fairly difficult, but instead, they actually use the Viper util to try and force him out of the corner. Artist, though, will land the shot anyway. And now Aslan on 70 HP has to try and clutch versus 2. The first will go his way, but the blast pack forcing him. It got a little dicey, but Zipan will close it in the end.
Big played a really interesting game there. I mean, for God B just storming the site like that through utility, I love that we were just making the point about this guy playing ridiculously aggressive, and then he does that.
I don't know if I like that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, no.
That might be a bit much for me.
I'm not going to be writing home about that one, but it certainly illustrated the point nicely. Looking at then the utility, though, from Twiston, Aslan popped a snake bite for, now I'm going to look at the mini-map, for the left side of B site, right? And the nade went right. The result of that is practically no damage, right? I think Zipan lost like 6 health. Weird that they did that on the same spot. You know, you're either going to, if they're on the other side, you won't do your 5 damage, but you'll kill them if they're on the side close. So it was strange. Maybe a bit of miscommunication, bit of panic. Oh no! Aslan's been caught in his ultimate, but Angel kept on going, and well, that has taught him a lesson. I've never seen this level of aggression from IGLs. Like, God B goes, oh, they've got B, and they put a Viper Orb, I'll run through it. And then Angel is like, oh, some of them have pistols, and there's a Viper's Pit, I'm in. I'm running through mid.
Oh, he's managed to catch one right at the end as well. It was looking like a pretty decent spot for FPX, but now the remaining 2 have to try and turn the tide. They will have a rotation, but look how quick God B is, and he's spotted ahead of Zipan as well. Both players knowing where the other is, but he only has a pistol. It's a classic. He literally has brought nothing into this round, and by the looks of it, he's going to get hit with a showstopper, but it's for a trade. That's absolutely fine. Big have made it work with very little in this round. They came in with 1 rifle and some pistols, and they actually only used the Viper's Pit in the first place because Obnox actually got that kill. And the funny thing is, as well, I'm fairly certain that Angel wouldn't have actually been low if he just waited a few seconds, because he was still hit by the Viper ult.
Yeah. Yeah, altogether a very strange round. Big came in with, you said pistols, they were classics as well. Like these guys did not invest. They did not expect to win this round.
I think they had a couple of sheriffs.
Couple of sheriffs, sure, but they also, I saw 2 classics coming into the late stage, and that was that's absolutely bizarre for Big to win that round. And I sort of caught myself there because I assumed this timeout would be FPX's, but actually Big have called it. And I do
They've
wonder,
done this twice.
You know, from Goppy's perspective, do they have the defense figured out right now? I mean, they won off the back of mistakes being made by FPX. I think this is a perfect time to gather yourself and really, I guess, iron out any creases, close this map out cleanly.
I think both times that we've seen a pause from Big, first half as well, was just after they won a round. And I almost wonder if it's nothing strategical, more so just that they won a round that either they shouldn't or was very close, and he wants to calm some of the youngsters.
I just look so for you guys at home, we have what I'm currently looking at on my main monitor is a vMix link, and that is in-game. So I have the in-game thing in front of me at all times. So I wasn't looking at the program feed, which is what you guys see at home, and we had the player cams. And the player cams are bigger up. Well, Tom, you know, talking about Big sort of organizing themselves. So I think Gobby just needed to pee. So kind of ruins that point. But
technically, I was right about it not being strategical then.
True.
Unless it was a strategical pee, in which case, fair play.
It could be, you know. Listen, it depends how far along he is. It could be thrown off his aim or anything, you know. It makes sense. Got the jitters.
Or it might make it better, the urgency.
We need to win this now, guys. Do not lose this round. Someone says OT and he just starts crying. 3 rounds between them. FPX really, really shoddy by, but some opportunities if someone like Angel can land a few shots with that vandal.
They got some ults.
Exactly.
That's the thing I'm looking at. Like, Cosmic Divide, right in a round like this, really don't mind. Hunter's Fury in combination could do some damage, but I feel like they have to get something off the back of it first. I would be very surprised if they just commit these ults, especially because he's currently there with a Vandal, and if he's going to go into a Viper's Pit with that, Mitch will be very unhappy.
I will say, though, Big have already used both their
30
drone
seconds left.
and their Trailblazer in the early rounds, so fighting back into a Viper's pit would actually be pretty tough
Don't know
for
if it's
them.
early.
Sure.
Early for FPX.
Sure, I realize,
20
yeah,
seconds
FPX
left.
have literally ran the clock down massively. Well, Angel had the rifle, and he got completely isolated. That utility coming out of Viper, hasn't been challenged all round. You're pushing the A site versus Viper util versus a Viper who still has both snake bites with 20 seconds left on the clock. Now, that doesn't sound like a great scenario, and that would be why. Obviously, everybody except Angel having pistols or a Spectre, and they're running through Viper util, which again makes it that much easier. That's a free round for Big. I mean, they just got handed that.
Aslan used his ult in the last round, by the way.
Wait, what?
He's two away. I mean, like the round before
sorry.
he used it, and now he's just got an ace.
I thought you were saying like he somehow used his ult that round, and
No,
I didn't
no,
notice.
no,
It's like my mind just broke. Yeah, no, he's 2 away. Very true. Very true.
An ace in this round, just farming them up. I'm quite surprised they used a showstopper there, but I feel like that was almost just a point of like, let's make sure that this round is completely over. Like Twiston threw that in right towards the end. I think there was only 2 players left in about 10 seconds, but the way the rounds are going, no, I guess it's almost coming down to just trying to flex a little bit. Risky battle taken though. I'm honestly surprised Godby didn't go back through the smoke to kill them all.
I think that using the showstopper, actually, it's an intentional play by Big to reset their ult economy. You look at FPX right now, they've got a whole bunch to play with, and Big almost offered them an opportunity here. Do you want to really fight for these rounds? Look, they're going to let them play slow again, and then the panic sets in on those last second pushes. Ults start to get thrown out, and Big can lose a round or 2 to ultimates and then use their own to finish off the game, So they're in a really, really powerful spot right now. They're commanding the game, and they're doing that on the defense by just sitting still and waiting for their opponents to start pushing forward. This time, FPX wait for the Viper util to cycle, but the snake bites are still there, helping out on the hold on long. Then one goes down to stop the mid push. I mean, again, FPX are running perfectly into Big's utility. The defense couldn't ask for a better situation. Maybe they could if Aslan wasn't stuck in this corner, because now he's in trouble, but he deals with Artis.
Yeah, and it's left onto Xiao. Again, the time is his main enemy here. Well, other than the 3 players currently waiting with the spike right in front of him, but I don't see a way that he comes out of this round with any level of success, and Obnox is there to close it out. I think we really do need to give credit to Aslan over these last couple of rounds. His Viper utility has been perfect. Locking them down, as you said, in 2 different avenues. He's the one watching mid and then just has time to switch up, put a snakebite down, look back, and sort of support his team along the way. That is wonderful stuff coming out from the Viper, and while this is looking all but done, there hasn't been anything really showing up over the last few rounds for FPX that I can say look like they're going to get anywhere near winning a round.
Yeah, no, at this point, their pacing has been completely off on the attack. You can tell that, in a way, it's not that you can tell this is Big's mapping. Oh, hold on, Obnox, he's doing it again. We saw him attempt this earlier on with no success.
No way.
And although the Gravwell connects, the shot from Sugetsu lands. He had a Sheriff being pulled across the floor, and somehow he manages to hit that shot. That's a lifeline for FPX now.
Yeah, no, it's a weapon upgrade. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Soigetsu actually goes back to try and retrieve the other gun. God B will be there with information that they're pushing in towards the site, and he has a crossfire with Caspe, who is not going to be checked for. And he's actually trying to fight back into this, giving away into the round, but with God B still here, they need to clear him. And there is support looking to try and round the corner. Fact is, though, God B is the only one standing.
Oh, FPX did so well in this round, but it comes down to Artis. He's had a tough game so far, and with a Bulldog, I'm not feeling a whole lot better about his chances. That shock dart, it's basically heat-seeking him. 60 HP now to make this clutch happen. Guppy's not much healthier, but he has the element of surprise. As he creeps around through elbow, he's going to have this cross covered. Artis looking to catch him pushing out through spawn. Will his spidey senses tingle? No.
Oh my God.
He's got his back turned. Gobby executes Sova Diff to close this one out. And Big Diff with 13-7, commanding a dominant lead over this defensive side.
Yeah, no, it was really impressive. And even on an individual level, I was really impressed with how